Hello, can anybody hear me? Can
Yes,
anybody hear
sir.
me? Okay, just give me like 2 to
now.
3 minutes. Let me set up my screen.
It's all right, sir.
Oh, hello, how are you?
If not, please, I'm trying to enable screen sharing. Please give me some time. Mr. Tommy, Mr. Tommy,
Yes, sir.
please, I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not allowing me. Can you do that from your end? I see that you are a host. Somehow from the can you enable me to share my screen?
Okay.
Can you do that? Mr. Tommy,
So,
yes, can you enable sharing of screen? I don't know, I can't do that for my end.
to enable show on screen is not one of the options I have here.
Okay,
I
let
only
me check that.
allow to record local files.
A minute, I'm coming.
Hello, Mr. Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Please, can you make him as a co-host so that I'll be able to share? Just make him as a co-host.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I think I've gotten it now. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay,
Good evening.
yeah,
Alisto.
yes, so we are starting in earnest. I'm going to take a recap quickly of what we did yesterday because we're not able to save, we're not able to record the training that yesterday because we're using a different platform. And right now my battery is almost, but I just pray that they'll bring the lights soon so that we're able to do up to like 1 hour for this training. So welcome everybody. My name is Anene Kalistus. I'm your instructor for today. So we started our Sage 50 training yesterday. And yesterday I walked us through the history of Sage 50 across the globe, different versions of Sage 50. So I'll quickly, without wasting much time, I don't want to go back. Let me quickly go to the different versions of Sage. Yes, the different versions of Sage 50. So I started by one of the important things I point out is that there are 3 versions of Sage 50. We have Sage 50 Pro Accounting, which is mainly for a single user, and it has the following features. We have Sage 50 Premium Accounting, and we equally have this is Sage 50 Premium Accounting, and we equally have Sage Quantum. Okay, so that is that. Okay, please let me ensure that my screen it is being recorded. Let me see. Okay, it's recording. Okay, so like I was saying that the issue of what version of Sage is good. So we have Sage 50 Pro Accounting, Sage 50 Premium Accounting, and Sage 50 Quantum. Like I said, the question of which version is good for your company depends on the number of users. For a company where you have just one user, that is just the accountant, Sage 50 Pro Accounting is good. Where you have 1 to 5 users, then Sage 50 Premium Accounting is the best. And Sage Quantum, when you have 50 to 40 users, Sage 50 Quantum will do. So now we went ahead to look at how to set up, to install Sage 50, and we did that. How to set up, to install Sage 50. So I showed you how to install Sage 50, and we equally set up our charts of accounts. We set up our charts of accounts. That's yesterday. We're able to set up our charts of accounts. I showed you how to create customers and to create your vendors. So today we'll be continuing from the point where we already have our customers, we already have our charts of accounts set up. We'll be will be now posting transaction. But before we post transaction, like I said, we need to set up our inventory list. We need to set up our inventory, our list of inventories. So we are going to do that right away. So let me quickly share my Sage 50 workspace. Let me, okay. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Please, can we all see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so like I said, we have our charts of accounts already set up. We have our payable, our customers list set up, and we have our charts of accounts set up. So let me quickly show you. These are charts of accounts. I'll go to, so to look, to see your charts of accounts you've created, you go to maintain charts of accounts, and you see, come to, on this box, click on list. So you see the list of our charts of accounts we've created and their opening balances. We need it for the previous year before we can record transaction for this current year. So let me quickly show you the customer list. So I'll go to maintain customers and prospects list. So this is a list of customers. Like I pleaded with you yesterday, for the purpose of this training, I asked that you just follow me. If you don't have the software, I said, in order to get the software, I will share the license for the software for just 1,000 naira. Now, it's not compulsory for you to have it to be able to follow this training. It's just that in case you want to be able to practice what we have learned, I dropped the practice materials on the Accountant Hub community WhatsApp group. And for me to share the license for this particular software I'm using, so it's going to cost each person just 1,000 naira. But like I said, this training is free. You are not mandated to. It's not compulsory for you to get. In case you don't need the software, that's good and fine. But in case of practice purpose, in case you need to practice, like I said, the software I'm sharing with you, it gives you access, like I told you yesterday, for a period of 14 months. So that by that time, it's a good enough time for you to have practiced Sage 50 very well through this training. So this is our customer list. Now, let me show you the list of our vendors list. So we'll come to maintain vendors, and I'll come to list. So this is the list of our vendors. Now, we'll post transaction for the year, transaction with customers and transactions with our suppliers. But like I said yesterday, we cannot start posting transaction until we set up our inventory, the list of the products we sell. So to set up your inventory, you come to maintain. Now you notice that this maintain is where you perform almost all your tasks. You set up your customers, you set up your vendors, set up your employees, your inventory items, job costing, and so on. So to set up your inventory, you come to maintain and inventory items. Now, this is the box for inventory items. Now, the work environment for Sage is quite different from that of QuickBooks when we're looking at QuickBooks training. So the setup is almost the same, but they have some differences, the way Sage works. So this is the list for creating our inventory. Now, the very first thing we need to enter to create our inventory is to enter our inventory item, the description of the inventory, and item class. Now, I'll explain all of these classes for us to understand. We have stock items, we have master item, we have non-stock item, description item, service item. For the purpose of this training, we're using stock items. Now, I'll drop an explanation later for the meaning of all these. Stock items are those goods you buy to resell. So if you're a company that buys goods and you're into resale, wholesale buying and selling, then you have to choose the option of stock items. So we're going to be setting up our inventory list right away. So let me quickly share with you. I dropped the inventory list on the group. So this is our inventory list. This is our inventory list. This is our inventory list where we have 5 products we are selling, their description, the cost of sales, and the quantity on hand and their total cost. So we'll be setting them up right away. So let me go back to my, say, 50. Okay. So I'll be entering the details of all the products right away. So let me quickly minimize this. So okay, so like I said, we'll be starting with the first of the products on our list. So item ID. Now, this item ID is just a description, something like a code for each and every product. So on the Excel sheet I shared with you on the inventory list, so I'm quickly going to set up our inventories. So for the very first one we have is beta 20. Now I'll just put BTA and description. Now I'll write the product beta 20. Item class, like I said, is a stock item, meaning these are products we buy and sell. Now, at this point, we ask price level 1. What's the price level? What's the last unit cost and the cost method? So enter these details. The unit price, the selling price is 5,800. The unit cost price is 5,200. Then the cost method. Now, the cost method that is mostly used is the average. There's LIFO, there's FIFO, and there's average. We'll be using weighted average method for valuing our inventories. Now, on the right side of this screen, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so this is the point where we enter our GL sales account. Now, what this is saying is, for this particular product, our beta 20, when we make sales, which account do we record sales of that product? Which account? So we're going to select our sales account because we already have our chart of account set up. So I'll select sales. Okay, inventory account. So this is where you'll be recording the value of all your inventory. So I'll select inventory account. Cost of sales account. I'll select my cost of sales account. Cost of sales account. Now, quantity on hand, quantity available. Now, quantity on hand, I'm interested on quantity on hand. So quantity on hand.
I'm betting for you. Now, I've finished right.
Quantity on hand. I have let me come to my history. Okay. Quantity available, quantity on hand. Let me see. Minimum stock, reorder quantity. Let me quickly check on something. Okay. Okay, stock items. Okay, minimum stock, reorder quantity. I'm supposed to give me permission to edit this. Okay, I've not entered my price. This is 5.2. Okay, this is 5,200. Now, item type. Okay, I don't have, so all these details, you can enter them. So we don't have all these much details to enter. All these much details to enter here. I don't know why this thing strips off. Let me quickly select those accounts again. So I'll select my sales, my GL inventory account. I'll select inventory, cost of sales. Select my cost of sales account. Okay, cost of sales. Okay, and item type. Okay, just put a regular. Okay, so that's fine. So minimum stock, let me put 1,000 here. Reorder quantity. So reorder quantity now saying that at what level should we have, what quantity should we have on ground before we can make another order? So let me put it at 1,000. Okay, I'll come back to this quantity on hand and quantity available. They are not allowing me to enter that. I'll enter that maybe later. Now, preferred vendor ID. Okay, I won't be needing this information buyer ID, beginning balances. So you have modified the current record and have not saved it. You want to save it? Yes. So quantity on hand. Now, this is where I enter my quantity. Inventory beginning balances. Now, this is where I enter my quantity on hand. So I have, looking at the Excel sheet I shared with you, I have 8,000 units of that particular product on hand. So I'll quickly enter 8,000 here. So this is 5.2, the cost. So I'm going to give me the total cost. So I'll now click, I can now save. I'll now click OK. Okay, so I have that. So I can now, I have all the information concerning the first product. So I can now click save. So let me look at my list. Okay, so I have just one product saved now. So let me click on new. So now, so if you notice, if you click on save, it's going to save and still keep you on the same page for the product you created. But once you click new, it's going to open a blank template for you to create another account. So I'm going to create the second product, Alpha ALP, and the description is Alpha. So item class, they are all stock items. So the unit price, the selling price is 150. The cost price is 93.5. 93.5. Okay, so which method I'm selecting? Weighted average. So like now the same thing. So what the GL sales account? So I'll select my sales account, meaning wherever I make sales of this product, it should be recorded in my sales account. So this is my record of inventory, my cost of sales account. And I'll be able to track my cost of sales. So I'll click on my cost of sales, and minimum stock, I'll just put 600. The other quantity, I'll keep it at 1,000. So beginning balance, now enter the beginning balance. Okay, for the beginning balance now, I'll enter the ID. This is better. This is okay. This is for this. Okay, I've selected it. So you first of all select the product you just created here. You now enter the quantity. So the quantity we have on hand, let me quickly check my quantity we have on hand for that product is 21,900. So 21,900. The unit cost, like I said, is 93.50. 93.50. Okay, so it's going to give me my total cost, and I'll click OK. And then I'll now click new. Now, if I click save, it's going to save the record, but it's still going to keep me on this page. It's still going to keep me on this page. So I'm going to click new. So I've created the second product. So the third product on our list is Zephyr, ZPA.
Mr. Callistos.
Yes, I can hear you.
So sorry, please. This menu is not showing where to input our dates.
Okay.
Is it going to select the dates automatically, because I can't see where we are inputting dates here?
Okay, when we are putting date, okay, now the way Sage works is quite a bit different from QuickBooks. Now, okay, maybe we're not in our class, yesterday's class. When we set up when we begin creating our company, we told QuickBooks the financial year we are working with, right? We told QuickBooks the financial year we're working with, and it is January 2022 to December. Now, and so QuickBooks automatically, then we now selected that meaning that our previous financial year is January 2021. So you won't actually see the period of like the closing, like the opening balance of our inventory. That's the question you're asking, right? Is that
Of
the
course, yes.
Okay, now you won't see that. Now let me finish saving this record, then I'll go back to our inventory list. I'll now show you that it's recording automatically as at the 31st of 2021, as at the beginning of this financial year. So when you are setting up your company, once you choose your current financial year, right?
Okay.
If you choose your financial year to start with January 2022, the financial year working with is January 2022, 1st of January 2022 to December 2022. So by me choosing that information, QuickBooks already automatically knows that, okay, every balances I'm entering for inventory is at the 31st of December 2021.
Okay.
So I won't have to start looking for period where I'll be entering the dates again. So that's how it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so for stock item, for the third product, I'll select the amount. So what's the price level? The cost price is 1.2, selling price is 1.5. So I'll choose 1.5 here. Then the cost is 1.2. Okay, then the cost method is weighted average. So the same thing here, you select your sales account, inventory account, and cost of sales account. So I'm selecting my sales account, I'm selecting my inventory account, and the cost of sales. Cost of sales. And now minimum quantity 1,000. The other quantity 4,000. So beginning balance is okay. So the quantity I have on hand is 7,400. So the unit cost, like I said, is 1,200. So it's going to give me the total cost here. So I can now click my save. I can click OK, and I'll click new. So the fourth product I'll select is Gamma. So I'll select the item ID GAM. So I'll now enter the product, item class, stock item. So what's the price level? The price level is 1,000, and 704 is the cost price. 1,000. 704. The cost price. Okay. So weighted average. So I'll now select my sales account. So I'll select sales account here. Cost of sales. Cost of sales. And my inventory account. So this is okay. This is sales. This is cost of sales account. So so this is my inventory. This should be for inventory. Okay, I'm fine. So I'll now click minimum stock 1,000. Reorder quantity 2,000. So I'll now have my beginning balance. So I'm selecting for this particular product. My beginning quantity, quantity on hand. We have 2,200. 2,200. Unit cost 704.
I want you to freeze. Yeah.
704. So I have my total. I can now click OK. So new. So the last product now is CPH. So this is Sephora stock item. So the price is 6,000. So this is the cost price is 5,400 average. So sales, so I'll select my sales account, my inventory account, and my cost of sales account. Okay, so minimum quantity 1,000, reorder quantity 2,000, beginning balances. So the beginning balance for this is 1,980, 1,980, and the unit cost is 54. 54. Okay, so that's fine. Then I'll now click OK. So save and new. So I'm done creating all setting up our inventory. So I can now close this. So now let's look at how our inventory position now. So I'll go back to my working environment. I'll go to inventory lists, charts of accounts. Now look for my inventory. Now you have now seen my inventory is now showing me 64,785,500. Now it's the sum of everything that we've recorded here so far. So now we have our inventory set up, we have our customer set up, we have our supplier set up, and have our charts of accounts set up. So now we'll now begin to post transactions. We'll now begin to post our transactions. Now, so to post our transactions, let's go to, let me open the transaction sheet, the sheet for the transactions I sent. Okay, so I've dropped this on the group. It's similar to what we did with QuickBooks, but some changes have been made on the working document. So these are a list of transactions. Now, posting of transaction is somewhat similar to that with QuickBooks Jet, but it has some slight differences. So let's walk through it and see how far we can go. Now, we'll be posting this transaction. These are transactions that has to do with sales of goods to customers and purchases of goods from suppliers. So on the 7th of January, our team requested a quote for 4,050 units of alpha. So now I'll go to, so I'm supposed to raise a quote. Now this is a customer that wants to buy product from us, but this customer is requesting for a quote. Now this customer is saying, I want to buy this product. Let me know what is the cost of what I'm buying. Send me a quote of the cost of the materials, 4,500, 4,050 units of this product. Let me see a quote. So I need to send this customer a quote. So I'll come to my Sage 50 work environment. I'll go to under tax. This is where you see the various tax. Now, basically, you'll be working for posting of transactions and setting up of account. You'll mostly be working with your maintain and tax menu. So for transactions, you will see everything concerning transaction on this menu. On the tax menu, you can create sales and quotes and sales orders, sales invoicing. You can receive money. You can set up finance charge, select deposits, send credit memos, raise purchase orders, pay bills, and so on and so on. Now, we want to raise a quote. So I'll click quotes. So this sheet, it comes up like this. Now I want to send a quote. I need to first of all select which customer am I sending quotes to. So it's per team. So I'll select per team. So automatically the customer's address comes up. Their sheet to the information comes in here. The information comes in here, and you will see the dates. So this is the quote. Now this is where I'll enter the dates. The date of the transaction, the date of the transaction, the date I'm raising the quote. So I'm going to, first of all, enter my date here. I'll select on the 7th of January. I actually don't need this. Good stroke. I don't need this. So so quote number. So I could just call this one quote number 1. Just to give it a number. So I will now come the quantity. So this customer is asking for a quote of 4,050 units of this product. So I'll now select the item, it's beta 20. So I've selected the description, the item, so automatically the GL account pops up. So this is our sales account. So this quote, once I sell this product to this customer, the sales is going to be recorded in our sales account. So this is the unit price and this is the amount. So we've raised the quote. So I'm going to click on save and new. I'm going to click on save. I'll just click save and new. Okay, let me just click on save. The transaction will cause the customer's balance to go over the credit limit. Okay, now let me quickly close this. Do you want to continue? No, let me point out something. Now, when you set up your company on QuickBooks, you are supposed to set up default information. Now, let me walk you through what default information is. Now, default information is you telling QuickBooks, these are the things I want. These are the terms and conditions of operating in our company. Now you have default information for customers, default information for vendors, default information for employees, and inventory items. So these are information that by default, they're already been set up by Sage. So let's look at what is the default information for customers. Now this is the default information for customers. It means that without me even coming to this area, QuickBooks already has default settings for our transaction with our customers. And if you look at under terms and credit, you see what is select standard terms due in number of days, net due in 30 days. It means if I send a quote or an invoice to this customer, this is only due only after 30 days. So this is where you set your terms and conditions of your business transaction with your customers. So you could prefer to say, no, when I send an invoice or a quote to customer, I want it to be due in maybe like 10 days. Then you need to change this place to like 10. Credit limit, 2,500. Now this is saying that you can't sell goods on credit to this person above 2,500. So when I was trying to raise the quotes, QuickBooks quickly notified me that no, I'm about to sell a product on credit to a customer and it has exceeded my credit limit. So I'm going to put this credit limit to be like, let me put it to like 20 million. Let me put it to be 20 million, meaning that I can, or let me make it 30 million, means I can send invoice or quotes to a customer. Remember, when you raise a quote or an invoice using any software, it means automatically you are telling QuickBooks that this is a credit sales. Okay, Sage 50 acknowledges that as a credit sales. So as I immediately now I've changed it to 3 million, meaning I can now raise a quote or an invoice up to this amount, but up to this amount, yes. So I've changed it. So let me click on OK now. I've set up this now. Let me go back to the transaction I was trying to do. Okay. Okay, let me select my account. So this is for sales account. This is for sales account. This is for GL discount. I don't have a discount account. So let me come here. Okay, that is being selected. So I'll now call my cash account. I'll leave that undefined. So I can now click OK. Let me see. Discount account. Do I have a discount account? I don't have a discount allowed account. Okay, let me check if I have discount allowed. Okay. Okay, let me quickly check. Okay, there's no discount allowed. Maybe I'll quickly create a discount allowed account. Or let me just leave it. Let me just leave it on sales. Let me quickly record it on. Let me quickly select sales for that too. Select my sales account. Okay, let me leave my sales account. So I'll now click on OK. Now, let me go back to the quote I was trying to raise. I was trying to raise a quote. So let me go back to this quote. Now, remember I was trying to save and QuickBooks notified me that I have exceeded my limit. So if I click on save now, the transaction will cause these customers to go over the credit limit of this. Now, when we set up our customers, let me clarify this. When we set up our customers, each customer has a credit limit. For these particular customers, we specified when we're setting up our customer list that we cannot give these sell products to these customers above this limit, but you can choose to override it. So it's now asking, do I want to continue? I'm going to click yes. Click on yes. So I've recorded that transaction. Okay, so at this point, I don't know if does anybody have any question before I proceed? Any question on the things I've said so far? Is there any question? Okay, let me proceed. So we've recorded the very first transaction. So we're recording the second transaction now. Now let me quickly open the
You have my key.
okay, so
They don't carry the focus.
please mute your mic, everybody. I can hear no. Please mute your mic.
It's now that I want to go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we are going to the second transaction. The second transaction, which is on the 8th of January, we sent a purchase order to Uju Mary for this amount and for this particular product. So the next transaction on the 8th of January, a purchase order was sent to Uju Mary for 55,000 units of Beta 20. So I'll go to my Sage environment, work environment. Now I'm now going to raise a purchase order. So I'll come to, let me go to my environment quickly. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your Excel screen.
Okay. My Excel screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me quickly, I'm trying to share my QuickBook. Okay, my Sage. Okay, now you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, I can see
Okay,
it.
so now we want to raise a purchase order. Like I said, to raise purchase order, like I said again, most of the transactions you'll be doing on Sage, it will be on this tax menu. This is where you perform your tax. Now it's just like saying post a transaction or make a purchase order, raise a quote, send an invoice. So everything you'll be doing about recording transactions are found on the tax menu. So we want to make a purchase order. So I'll come to purchase orders now. I need to select, the very first thing is asking me vendor ID. I need to select which vendor am I requesting for product from. So I'll select, this is the supplier, selected it. So every information about that supplier comes up here. So I'll now select the date. This is on the 8th of January. 8th of January. So quantity, what quantity on that? If I go back to that my list, we are making an order for 55,000 units of Beta 20. 55,000 units of Beta 20. So I'll come 55,000. So item Beta 20. Okay, so the unit price pops up automatically. Let me quickly check that. 5,200. That's correct. So it pops up automatically, and this is the amount. So I'm going to click on save. Save now. So that transaction has been recorded. So that's that about the second transaction. So we are going to the next transaction. The next transaction on the 15th of January, we were invoiced by Uju Mary for the purchase of 55,000 units of Beta 20 at 5,200. So this order we purchased, this order we made, this supplier now is now sending us this product. Now we'll go back to our Sage environment. We'll go back to our Sage working environment. We'll come to our tax. will now send us. Let me quickly read that again. Okay, we're invoice. So we are going to pay a bill now. Let me see. So let me go to my Sage environment. So now we now want to pay for that purchase order. We now want to pay for that purchase order. Okay, so I'll go to my tax. I'll go to bills. I'll come to pay bills. Please select a cash account to use for this transaction. Let's select my GTB bank account. So it's now asking me, which account do we want to record? Do we want to make payment for this purchase order we made? So I'm selecting my GTB bank account, click OK. So now I'll now look for that vendor, Mary. Okay, I'll look for that vendor, Mary. I'll now come here. Let me make this screen a bit wide. So I'll now come here. I don't know what date did I choose here. Okay, I think this should be the transaction. Is this the opening balance? Let me check on something, please. Vendor. Okay. Okay, so let me check on something, please. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. A minute, please. Let me check on something. Okay, I was saying that we want to receive the products. The supplier has sent us an invoice of the products we made purchase order for. So I'll come to tax. I'll now come to purchases / receive inventory. Okay, I'll come to bills, enter bills. Let me enter bills. Okay, so I'll select, okay, that was for 55,000 units, and that was better 20. So I'll now select, okay, this is the amount. I'll now click, the date is this is on the 8th. So I'll now click 8th of January is what I want to enter. 8th of January 08. It could be 08/01/2022. Okay. Okay, so I'll now click on, okay, that's the due date. So I'll now click on save. You must enter an invoice number. Okay, invoice number. Let me see, invoice number 001. Okay, so now click on my save. So it has now saved. Now I will now, and now what I did was now to receive the inventory. So the way Sage works is, once you place a purchase order, after you make a purchase order, you need to receive. The next step is for you to receive receive the product you made purchase order for, before you can pay bills. So now I'm going to pay for that supply that was made to the company. I'll come to tax. I'll now come to bills and pay bills. Okay, so I'll look for the customer, Mary. So you will now see this invoice. If you look at the screen now, you are now seeing this invoice that was raised. This invoice here is what I'm going to select. This is the due date. It's due on this. So
and this boy, that thing on your bibido, ebaka conviction bido.
Mute your mic.
And he didn't want to go for the operation.
Please mute your mic. Everybody should mute his or her mic.
I want to encourage you right now.
A minute, please. Okay, so I was saying that we now want to pay for the purchase order we made. So we must select the particular order we made was this amount. This is the amount here. So okay, it's now telling me past due. So this is the product. This is the product. So I'll now click on save. I'm going to click on my save. You have modified the purchase that is on an open payment. Review what has been paid on the payments window before saving payment. So I've clicked on that. So I've made that payment. Now I've made the payment. So that's that about that transaction. So if I now let's go back to our Excel sheet and look at the next transaction. So the next transaction is to raise an invoice. The next transaction is for an invoice. Okay, sorry. That should be, okay. That was, okay, on the 30th of January, we raised an invoice for 4,000 units of Beta 20 for Ben and Co Limited. So we are going to raise an invoice now. We are going to raise an invoice. We are going to raise an invoice now for on the 30th of January. So to raise an invoice, you will now come to your tax, you come to sales / invoicing. I'll select my sales / invoicing. So now, let me check the name of that customer. The name of the customer is, okay, Ben Foster. That's 30th of January. So I'll go to my working environment. Okay, so I'll go to my working environment, come to tax. I'll now raise invoice, sales / invoicing. So I'm now sending it to Ben Foster. I'll select, this is the customer's name. So like I said, details automatically pops up. So I think that was for 4,000 units of Beta 20. So so I'll come here to Beta 20. I'll come to my invoice. Let me go I think the invoice is open here. Okay, I'll come to the invoice. So I'll now enter the quantity, 4,000 units, item Beta 20. Okay, and the account is automatically selected. So I'm going to enter the date of the transaction. That's 30th of January 2022. So that's an invoice. So okay, so I will now select save. So I have every other information. So as you are entering the details, the calculation is done automatically for you. So I'll now click on save. The transaction will cause the customer to go above the limit. Now this is the limit for this customer. So I'll permit it to go above this limit. I'll click on yes. And that will be that. Okay, so now let's record the next transaction. Okay, let's record the next transaction. So I'll come to, let me go to my Excel sheets. Okay. So the next transaction is on the 2nd of February. We supplied 2,000 units of 2,000 units of Beta 20 supplied by Ojumeri was returned by us for lack of NAFDAC number. Now this is a refund. This supplier that supplied us this product, we are going to return goods to this customer. So now what I'm going to do is this is what I'm going to do. Let me go to my Sage environment, because out of the 55,000 units of product that was sold, 2,000 units are being rejected. So we are returning it back. So I'll come to my tax. I'll go to pay bills. Pay bills. Okay, let me quickly check on something. Okay, let me go back. Tax. Okay, let me check. I'm looking for something particular. Projects, payroll. Okay, pay bills. Okay, so I'll come to pay bills now. I will now select the customer. That's Mary, the vendor. Okay, so now let me check. Please let me check on something. Purchase orders, receiving vendor bills. Okay, vendor credit memo. Yes, I'll go to vendor credit memo. Now, what I'm trying to do here is, because we have an outstanding bill with this customer, and we are supposed to pay the customer for 55,000 units of a particular product and whatnot. But we discovered that out of the 55,000 units, 2,000 have defects. So I'm going to send a credit memo to the customer. Now, a credit memo is simply telling the customer that it's like the customer is like a refund the customer will be doing for us. So I'll need to select. Let me quickly. Okay, I need to select the particular transaction that this credit is referring to. So I'll come here, apply to invoice number. So I'll come here, I think it's this transaction. Yes, to this transaction here. So I'll come to this transaction here. I need to change, let me quickly change or something. Apply to purchases. Okay. Okay, apply to purchases. Yes, I'll come here to this. I'll come to this instead of going to apply to invoice, because this has to do with the customer, but I'm coming to apply to purchases here. I'll enter the quantity, 2,000 units. Then I'll now select the product, and it automatically calculates the amount that will be as a refund. So what this is going to do now is going to reduce our indebtedness to that particular customer. So that's what it does. It reduces our indebtedness to that particular customer. So I'm going to click on save, and it's going to apply to that purchase. Okay, before I go ahead, I don't know, is there any question before I go ahead? Does anybody have any question? Okay, let me go ahead. So
hello, can you hear me? I have a question, please. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
We talked about returning that is goods return outward, right? Or the inward,
Yes.
rather.
Yes.
Return inward. Now, if it's a desktop, does it mean that it's sending it to, like, you have a workstation where you have your activities going on, like it's not a cloud base? I don't know whether I understand where I'm coming from. Now, the aspect is that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, the aspect of the return inwards, it is that it's going to notify. How is it going to notify the customer, or is it not going to deduct it from our own transaction, and as such, we get our credit balance as the date our transaction occurred?
Okay,
I want
now
to understand the movement in that line.
Now, what happened was we made a purchase order from that customer, from a particular supplier, and we sent a purchase order using our QuickBooks, our Sage platform. We sent a purchase order. If we come here, tax, we send a purchase order for 55,000 units of a particular product. Now, but we discovered that 2,000 units of those products were not. They have defects. I think we'll say you have issues with NAFDAC. Let me read what they said here. They said the lack was returned by us. Now, we are the one returning the product. So it's a return outward.
Yes.
So we're returning the product back to the supplier. So what you need to do is, because you had raised a purchase, it means you need to apply a credit memo to that purchase, that vendor.
Okay.
You need to, so what the credit memo will be doing is, if I'm raising a credit memo, I must specify the particular transaction I'm referring to. The transaction that involves 55,000. What it's going to do is, Well, it's going to reduce our indebtedness to that customer. We're not going to be paying for 55 again. We are going to be paying for 55,000 minus 2,000.
Okay, sir.
So that's what happens when we are using that.
So the customer has no issue in that range, because more like I was looking at it that he send a mail or send the invoice also like to the customer, like
Yes, we
the supplier rather. Not,
yes, we sent a purchase order to the supplier. So we are now before we pay, we'll now send a credit memo. We'll send a credit memo to that supplier. Yes, that we are not paying for 2,000. So that's going to reduce the amount we are owing that supplier by 2,000. Instead of paying for 55,000 units, we're paying for 53,000 units.
It's okay, sir. I'm good.
Okay. So let's go to 12th of January now. So now we will not be able to do all these transactions, but it's once you understand where to go in your Sage environment is quite easy. Like I said, Sage and QuickBooks are practically the same, but it's just that the settings of Sage is somehow different. They have some slight differences, but if you understand what is required for a particular transaction, you know that this particular transaction requires raising a purchase order. You just need to know where am I going on my Sage environment to be able to raise a purchase or an invoice. So it's just to understand the environment. So let's look at this transaction on the 12th of February. So an invoice for 4,000 units of alpha at this amount was raised from the estimate. And invoice. Okay, let's just leave this 4th of January. We can do this. Let's come to something a bit. Okay, let's come to other transactions that have something that peculiar about it. Now, on the 20th of February, sales of 5,000 units of Beta 20 to Alex stores, paying 65% of the invoice on all balances. So, like we said when we did our QuickBooks training, this transaction has two legs. We first of all raise an invoice to this customer for 5,000 units. Then we now make payments. We now receive payment for the 65%. So I'll come to my Sage environment. I will now come to tax, sales invoice. I'm going to raise a new sales invoice for, what's the name of the customer? Please let me quickly check. Okay, Alex Stores, Alex Bright. So I'm going to select, I'm going to, let me select. Okay, I've gone to my invoice, sales invoice, Alex Bright. So it's for, the date is on the 12th of February. On the, what's the date? On 20th of February. So I'll go for 20th of February. 20th of February. Like this. Okay, 20th of February. So I have 20. So that's for how many units? 5,000 units, I believe. There's 5,000 units. So 5,000 units. So I'll select the products. That's Beta 20. So okay, Beta 20. Okay. Okay, so you have this. I've selected the date, and I'm going to click on save. Okay, it's now telling me the transaction has caused the customer's balance to go above the credit limit. So I'll just override yes. So now the next thing is the customer is paying 65% of that amount, 65% of the total amount. So what was the total amount? Let me quickly check the invoice. Let me quickly check the invoice and check the total amount. Okay, let me quickly check. So it's the total amount for that we are billing the customer. The total amount we are billing the customer, it's 5,000 multiplied by 5/8. but the customer is paying 65%, so I'm going to multiply times 0.65. So I'll be receiving 18,850,000. So I'll come to my Sage. So how do you receive payment? You come to tax. You now come to tax. Now come to receive money. I'll select receive money. So I'll now click on. So the customer is paying through our GTB bank account. So I'll select GTB. So I'll now select the customer ID, Alex Bright. So this transaction, let me see. Was it this transaction? No, not this transaction. Okay, let me see. Okay, not this. This is the opening balance. Let me check. It's like the invoice. Let me go back. It's like that invoice was not recorded. Let me go back to that. My maintain.
Keys with you. Which keys?
Okay,
Your
let me.
office key. No, this one will give you. See the one will give you.
Okay, this particular invoice. Yeah. Okay, this is this particular invoice. Okay, so now what I want to do is let me close. Let me receive. Let me go back. Yeah, I'll come to tax, receive money. Okay, I'll click OK. So I'll now select the customer ID. The customer is Alex.
I got you.
Let me check. Alex Bright. Okay, that's fine. I'll come to Alex Bright. Let me see. So Alex Bright has been selected. Reference number. Okay, receipt number. Any particular receipt number? No. So I could enter. Let me put 001 here. I could just put 01. These are just ID to be able to for reference purposes. So I'll now come here. I'll select. Let me go to. I'll come to apply to revenue. I'll enter the amount the customer is paying. Let me put. I think that's he's paying for. Let me see something. Quantity. Let me quickly do a calculation, please. Let me quickly check on something. Let me quickly check the unit price of the goods. Let me see. So that's 5,000 units of beta 20 at this. So I'll need to divide this by 5/8. So, okay, so the customer is paying, actually invariably paying for 3,250 units. Remember, of the total amount of the bill, the customer is paying for 65%, and 65% is 3,250 units of that product. So I'll be receiving payment for that particular amount. So I'll come here. I'll come 3,250. Item. I'll now select beta 20. I'll now, okay, it has been selected automatically. 3,000. Okay. So 3,000. Okay, so I'll now click on save. And that's that for that. So so like I said, it's just for you to understand the environment, the Sage environment. So for your posting of transaction, you come to tax. If you want to raise a quote, you come to this point. If you want to receive money, you come here. Send purchase order, you select. So everything about every transaction is here. Now, like I said, this maintain. If you come to maintain, you come to default information. This is where it is advisable that you set up your default information for your customers, your vendors, your employees before you start posting transactions. Now, what the default information spells out is it tells you the terms and conditions for dealing with a particular customer. You might say for customer A, the credit limit for that customer is 20 million. You must set it up. You must come here and set it up. Likewise for vendors, likewise for employees. You could say, okay, for a particular employee, I cannot give an employee cannot receive loan of more than 5 million. So you need to set up all those default information. So default information are just information that you set by default, so that when you are posting transaction, your Sage take note of your default conditions of transacting with your customers and suppliers. So, ladies and gentlemen, so that's basically that about Sage. Now, to generate your report at the end of your posting for the financial year, to generate reports, you simply come here, reports and form. You can generate account receivables report, account payables report, your financial statement, your inventory report. So I would like us to end here today because my battery is telling me that I have just how many minutes to go? Let me check. I think I have just like 5 minutes for my battery to completely shut down. So at least we've achieved something today, 1 hour, in 1 hour, 18 minutes. So maybe we could schedule another time, or maybe I'll just do a recording to explain other key issues as regards using of Sage. So I've dropped the... Yes.
I want to ask a quick question. The aspect, I didn't join on time. The aspect of chart of account is still in the maintain aspect that you can input it. Can you input it or you type it manually?
Okay, I didn't get you.
Hello?
Yes.
If you want to like set up your chart of account for the company,
okay,
where and where can you navigate? Because I didn't join on time. The network was
to set up your chart account, if you come to maintain, can you see?
Okay.
You come to charts of accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, so you enter the account ID. So here you enter account ID. You can just say, let's say you want to create our bank account, or enter the, just give it an account ID, 1,000. You come to description, GTB Bank. Now,
what if you want?
Yes, go ahead.
You want to import all of them. Want to import all of them, like the assets, movement, fixed assets, current assets, or like you want to import. You have an Excel sheet. Where can you?
Okay, I'll do. No, that process is a bit lengthy as compared to Google. I'll do a video and drop on the WhatsApp group, so you'll be able to follow. If it does going to take me a lot of time because of the amount of charts of account, but I'm going to show you. I'll do a video and drop that to show you how to do that, because that's easier if you have a lot of opening balances and different ledgers. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So I don't know if anybody has any question. Any other question before? Because my battery, we still have like 40 minutes to go, but I can't continue. My battery won't last me more than 5 minutes. So
okay, I feel I could chat you up, right? If it's okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. So I'm going to. Yes, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate. Yes, I really appreciate. Thank you so much. So
the pleasure is ours.
So once the recording is ready, I'll drop it. We'll drop it on the WhatsApp group. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful.
Bless you.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Thank you. Have a lovely week. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.